Welcome, everybody, to Sherry Brothers Studios, powered by Complete Wedding and Events. You are listening to the Wedding and Event Insider. Myself, Matt, is here. We've got some awesome people here today as well. Something we've never actually done on the podcast before. We have the main team for Twin Cities Wedding and Event Professionals here today. My good friend, my sister-in-law, actually the bossiest sister-in-law of all time,
Yes.
Elizabeth Sherry.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here. Also, co-founder of Twin Cities Wedding and Event Professionals, Michelle Tverberg. She is an amazing person, inside and out. She is everything that Elizabeth fakes to be.
Thank you, Matt.
Just kidding, sister. I love you.
I actually would agree with that.
Goodness.
She's a lovely person.
She's a lovely person.
I was a little worried, but it's like, okay,
No
then you started with
comment.
it. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, my husband cannot comment. You didn't introduce your brother.
I didn't
though.
introduce my brother and your husband. Michael Sherry Jr. is our producer today. He is making sure all the microphones work and that we look good and pretty and sound good. And I think we sound pretty good tonight.
Yeah. So, Matt, what are we talking about today?
I have no idea. You guys just invited me 5 minutes ago, actually. I think
is
we're
like a
on here to
meeting.
just
Here we
kinda,
are.
Yeah.
I think we're here to just sort of, talk about some of the stuff that is going on, some of the trends that are going on, some of the things that have happened over the last year, some of the things we are seeing now, that we are able to have a full season, some of the things we don't think are going to be around for very long, some of the things that are gone forever.
Well, they're
All
not
that
kidding
kinda
with
stuff.
that reset. That reset that I keep on talking about. What does it mean for the wedding and event industry? And I keep on seeing themes over and over when it comes to that. So some of the things I'm just thinking about is like, what's gone? What is forever gone? What is not coming back? I mean, Michelle, what are you thinking is never coming back?
Well, a couple of things jump into my brain as far as that goes, but one of the things I would say for we were talking about the garter, the garter toss, and that sort of thing too, with the guy grabbing the girl's garter and going under her dress and that sort of thing. So that is one thing that's, I don't know if that's gone, because I will say what I have seen is what I've been seeing in the midst of changing with that, not seeing that as much, but when they trick the groom and they will actually have the guy's best man sitting there. And so he thinks that he's going for his bride, but it's actually not him. It's her. It is his
I
best
do
man.
enjoy a good trick.
So
like
that's
that.
I will say you probably will still see some of that going on, but just not seeing that garter toss as much. What would you say, Matt? Although I think you thought you would be seeing it more.
I think if it is going away, it's a shame because the garter toss is a lot of fun at weddings. I mean, everybody gets into it, and you can play around with the groom a little bit, and I think it really depends on the couple and how outgoing they are, and
All right, well,
how much fun they want to have with it.
Let me ask you this, because once upon a time, I was a 13-year-old that caught the bouquet at my cousin's wedding. And I was all excited. As kids are, yes, I got the bouquet. And then they did the garter toss, and it was some 56-year-old man. And back then, it was one of those things where you had the person who caught the garter and then the person who caught the bouquet dance right after, or I felt like that was more of a tradition. And they didn't do that, thankfully, because that would look like a father-daughter dance. But what is, do you see that anymore? Or, is that completely gone, that tradition?
That is completely
Oh,
gone.
good.
Yes. They do not have the catcher of the bouquet and the garter have a wonderful dance together. Nor did anyone really believe that the 13-year-old was the next one to be married.
Yeah. Yes.
As well. So, I mean, some of those traditions are fall to the wayside. I mean, you don't, other things like you don't see a parents dance very often anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do run into the occasion where the parents are still together and want to do a parents dance, but sometimes you're at weddings where there's 8 parents there now.
Yeah, it's true.
It gets a little awkward. So I mean, things like that are kind of gone too.
Can I make a bold claim that the dollar dance should be gone and never come back?
Yes.
That is the number. Okay.
Objection, Your Honor.
Why are the men agreeing with each other and the women here are on the same page? It's like no garter toss. And yeah, that dollar dance, to me, that slows down an event so much. It is 3 worthless songs. I will be at the bar. See you later.
Do you want me to explain my thought process on that?
Maybe.
So, and I get what you're saying. I think because most of my career was growing up in the DJ era, and taking care of some of that stuff. What I noticed in the industry is that it was an excuse for bad DJs to go play terrible music for a half an hour and completely kill the mood, and then come back a half an hour later and try to restart an event. And what it did was kill a lot of energy while it was going on. But there's some really great things I love about the dollar dance, and I don't think it has anything to do with dollars, because in the 50s you would do a dollar dance and you had a down payment for a car or a house, and it's barely a bar tab now. It's from
Right.
what you're going to get. But I think what happens is, if you're a bride or a groom, and you're at your wedding and you've got 200 people there, there is this pressure to hang out with everybody that's there, to spend 10 minutes and spend that time with everyone. When people don't actually need that, what they need is, they don't want to spend all this time being there for their loved one and then nobody knows they were there for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the same fear that I think a lot of couples have as well. And if you're really strategic about it, you can do an amazing dollar dance. All you have to do is make sure the best man, maid of honor, whoever's taking money, it just knows everyone gets 10, 15 seconds. So it's enough time to say, hey, I love you. You look so beautiful. We're so excited for you, and goodbye and next, And so that person gets that chance to have eye contact with that couple, and that couple gets to have that contact with them, even short and sweet. But once you do that dollar dance within the first hour, now all of a sudden that couple has a ton of time to enjoy the rest of the evening, not feel so pressured that I'm missing this person or I'm missing that person, and can feel a lot more comfortable that everyone that wanted to be able to do that got their chance to do that. Like you said, 3 songs. 3 songs isn't that bad. That's 9 minutes or so, 6 to 9 minutes. Well,
Don't confuse me with math. Okay. So
if you do it right, it can be fun, and then you do an icebreaker and get the party rocking. That's my thought process, but I get what you're saying.
I don't know, Michelle, don't you think that there's more inventive ways to maybe see all of your guests and to
Well-
maybe have time move and collect money?
Exactly.
Money.
Well, I would
There
say
are some of that.
yes. I've seen them done, the dollar dances, to what you're saying, Matt. I have seen them done really well, where the best man and the maid of honor, they're really on it and they do keep it going smoothly. However, I would say, if that's at that moment, is that's a time when you're only seeing everybody, I would say definitely making a plan to make sure that either, because another thing I would say that's not really happening anymore is that receiving line. When the receiving line happens, that is, and if they don't do the receiving line, sometimes they're sneaking away for pictures, and then they're not seeing their guests, coming out. If they're not releasing, I'm talking about at the ceremony when it's happening. A lot of that receiving line isn't happening anymore, because they're ducking away because they want to go get pictures taken. So if they miss that opportunity then to see the people that are there, their guests and that sort of thing, then when they're at the dinner, it's that couple is needing to get up and go to all of the tables, and getting to see everybody. So that would be, making a conscious effort. So I think that dollar dance, it's like, if that hasn't happened in those 2 times, then that dollar dance is going to save them as far as knowing everybody that came to that event. So
Something fabulous I've seen some photographers do, and so Michelle, you might have done this because you're a fabulous photographer, is that at one of my events, they had the bride and groom do a 2 or 3 minute stint where they went around and took photos with
5-minute photo.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah,
5-minute
5 minute
photo.
I was actually
Okay,
just gonna bring it up.
oh really? Because
It's an icebreaker.
it involves a DJ, photographer, and of
Yeah.
course the fabulous venue or caterer, to make sure that this happens in a strategic time in the evening where you have everyone go around. So I do really enjoy that part. I have seen where, and this is maybe into the claim of what is new or what is something that I would like to see more in events, is these amazing cultural traditions, this rich history that all of these great couples have when they come together. I did a Nigerian wedding once, and instead of a dollar dance, they literally made it rain money. It was so
Chuck your money.
fabulous.
Chuck
They
your
do.
money.
It really. They were doing this with dollar bills, and some people had more. It was like $5, $20. Now the part that was a little weird is that you had the maid of honor and the groom on their hands and knees collecting all of the money, like they were in some sort of dollar wind tunnel thing, like a game show. But it brought in a lot of money, and it was just beautiful. We were all dancing around, and money was flowing
And
around
that song
all
is
of
so
us.
catchy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Chuck your money.
Yeah.
Chuck your money. It's awesome.
But then I'm going to be biased when I say this, but I also stole it from a client, is that at our wedding, dear, we had breakfast for dinner, and you and I were sitting behind the bacon and sausage because we thought you Sherrys were going to be way too ravenous for a bacon ration. And so we were handing out bacon and sausage as all the guests were walking through so we could see all of them. So we did kind of our own mock receiving line. We had Mr. and Mrs. aprons on, and we had chef hats on. Quite fun. Again, stolen from a client because any good idea that we had at our wedding was obviously was already tried and true, tested at somebody else's wedding.
Yes.
But I did enjoy that because I got to see everybody. So I'm gonna throw it out there that there are other solutions to a dollar dance.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think the purpose of the dollar dance is different now, and that's why I was talking about just making sure that people get to connect with each other because, yeah, like I said, it's not about money. If you want to do something for money, have bids for who gets cake in the face. That's fine.
I do enjoy that.
Or something like
Any
that.
type of competition at an event is just a great idea.
Anytime the stakes get higher, you're gonna make a little bit more if that's your goal.
So with COVID, I'm now going to make other bold claims here is that I was never a germaphobe before COVID, and I'm not one now, but the thought of community food grabs, like, those Joy almond they're gross candies to begin with, but they're in the center of a high top and everyone can touch those. That's gone for me. I can't imagine those being back in an event. And the other thing that just kind of,
like buttermints?
Yeah,
nuts and buttermint?
Yes, those. Yes, exactly. What would be on grandma's end tables?
The pastel.
Yeah,
mints.
yep, those
Yes.
exactly. But the other thought I had was chocolate fountains. They were already misused before. I'm going to say that those are never coming back. I cannot imagine a world where those are ever sanitary to the point of what we
Just
imagine
a
them
spewing
being.
volcano of germ.
Oh,
goodness.
or cheese. Remember how they did cheese for a while? And you're like, yes, fondue, and you had the pretzels and the other, and it was a great concept before we knew better. Before
You
everybody,
see that 5-year-old that takes a strawberry and goes in.
and that's why.
over and over.
Yeah, 5-year-old is walking away.
Fondue is great for a
with
group
chocolate.
of 6 people around a dinner table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can we
For
all agree
250 people.
Yes.
that's gone?
Yes,
Fondue
I
thing?
agree
I
with
don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you
And-
put plexiglass around the chocolate fountain, though,
Yes.
Oh, I don't know.
Just stare at the chocolate fountain as
it's just
it
to look at, guys.
I think another thing that's going to be gone, or the trend is, you remember when the bridesmaids and all of their dresses had to be exactly the same dress, and now we're seeing it's like it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the same dress; it can just be the same color. Which I've been so thankful to see that, and I hope that it never ever goes back to.
Do you think
Oh,
that's
the
because of
very
COVID
same-
and they couldn't coordinate anymore?
Oh, yeah.
Bring something orange.
Well, my
Don't worry about
fiance,
it.
Ashley, that's what we're
Yeah,
doing.
no,
We're
Yeah.
there in April, and she said this is the color, and
Yeah.
here is
And go to
a
town.
place where there's like 15 dresses.
So I'm
It's-
right. It just wasn't because of COVID. They're just saying get
No,
something.
because it was.
I think
there
it's
was some.
just simpler, and then people don't want to have the everyone is different. Everyone's in different sizes. Not
yes.
everyone fits in the same dress the same
Yes.
way, and I think it's a way.
It's a way
possibly
to
for
make
people
everybody
more
feel
comfortable.
beautiful on their day
Yeah.
for the bride. But yes, not every size fits into the same style of dress, so
No.
it's a way to make it that everybody feels good and attractive.
It
but-
took 100 years for us to figure out that we're all not cut the same as women.
Yes.
But now, can we talk about the men? Can we start seeing some flair when it comes to men attire, please?
Yes, what you're going to see is black suits with white shirts.
Cool. I'm glad something new.
And- Yeah, because it's classic and it always looks good.
I don't know. You see on the red carpet these amazing green velour suit, like dinner jackets. Can we see something fun like that? I'm just craving for a wedding to get a little bit more trendy and not have all of their groomsmen and even the groom look the exact same. I mean, if bridesmaids are there, please tell me in 5 years that that's going to be a trend.
Yeah, I'd say if Ashley ends up listening to this,
You're going to be
then
wearing
I would
a
be
green
totally
velour
cool
coat.
with the purple red velvet jacket.
Okay.
That would be sweet.
This is
Yeah,
documented.
your black and white wedding, with you being in purple.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's your day though, so
What a black one.
I was
black
hopeful for
velvet.
the photographer though. When we just the groom's in purple, bright purple. So I can find it.
Yes, knowing which one is the
But when I say I want some flair, let's remove camo, please.
No,
I have seen that. It's been around for a
that was
while.
pretty
I
huge for a
appreciate
while.
the try and the reach, but let's just come back to classic traditional.
Hey, you might see camo. I mean, I haven't seen that in the last couple of years all that much, but you might see a resurgence of that, especially if the cities don't really rebuild, their event industry, as fast as we.
Oh,
think
so
they
we're doing
would.
more rural weddings? you mean?
as rural weddings continue
Mm-hmm.
to kind of dominate, and unique settings outside of the cities, we can continue to dominate. You
Mhm.
might see stuff like that. I think.
Yeah, I see more of the
Continue.
suit jackets.
But
and
you're
then,
seeing more of what you're asking for, just like flair and super niceness in the more rugged.
The wedding I was
atmosphere.
at, they did the processional with 4x4s, ATVs, the four-wheeler.
Oh my
The groom all
gosh.
drove down through the woods.
Yeah.
The women walked up to meet them, and they parked their four-wheeler.
And all the audience were wearing headphones just like ours.
Yeah.
It's so loud in here. I can't hear the vows.
That was that wireless speaker. The acoustics were great in that woods. It was actually really nice.
Well, there you go.
Sounded like your grandma.
That was the point. That was the point. But
Exactly.
I want to see some fresh stuff. I'm loving seeing different colored wedding dresses. Now, granted, I dreamed about the white wedding dress my entire life, and I was never gonna let that go. But sometimes I see the black wedding dresses or the bright pink wedding dresses, and they are just fantastic.
Yes.
I wish I was bold enough to wear that.
I was.
What yours was?
I eloped when me and my Marine eloped. And so when I came back and had a family gathering celebration, yeah, royal blue this girl wore. Had a dress made. It was beautiful, like a wedding dress, but it was royal blue.
See,
so,
trendsetter. Look at
totally
you.
outside
Did you
the
get
box.
married in the early 90s?
Actually, the late 80s.
Late 80s? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Electric blue was huge at the
Yes.
KFC.
Yeah, royal blue.
Back then.
It's beautiful.
That was a big deal.
Can't comment about trends of the 80s unless you consider myself a
I
trend
know,
of
were
the
you
80s.
even born then?
I was
Elizabeth?
birthed in 87.
That was actually the year I was married. So
What a
yeah, there we
great
go.
year. 87.
Oh my. Well, I mean, okay, anything else in food and beverage? Because, as far as gone, because there's a lot of things that I think we have to think about that we really didn't have that lens before.
There's some things I think that people think are going to be gone, but when the season really kind of hit last year, I had an open mind to look and see what was actually happening, because I know for a year we were talking about what we thought we were going to be seeing in the future, and I wanted to see kind of what is right, what we're on with, what we might be off on, and I think we were talking about how buffets were going to be a thing of the past, and earlier in the season we were seeing a lot of buffets, but we were seeing buffets where the staff was serving the plates and plating the plates themselves, and the guests were holding them. Towards kind of the middle to the end of the season, we're seeing buffets and free-for-alls. I have seen a lot of the stations being very popular, having food stations.
Those are coming
popular
back?
in a buffet, kind of setting, and maybe that's because the staff is actually giving them the food as well. But I think buffets are exciting for people, and I don't think they're going to go away.
Well, it's a
That's my story.
cost-effective way, and then also it's a good way to share or to have families like the Sherry be fed. How much
No.
is someone going to eat? Do they need 2 plates or do they need 1 plate?
Our
But
family consumes copious amounts of calories. It's true.
yeah, hence the 40 pounds of bacon we ordered at our wedding.
Oh, man.
But
Or when we were in Arizona, and I had how many burgers do you
burgers.
want, Mike? I'm like, I'll take 2, and the whole family stopped. 2 burgers?
we're not
Who's
big
having
eaters.
2 burgers. Anyway.
Oh my
They think I
gosh.
invited a monster into my family. He's 6'2"? That what? That's
That's
a
a
whole
hop.
foot higher than us.
What's happening?
Yeah. Can you take down this tent, Michael?
Oh.
Well, I actually one trend that's happening overseas, over the pond, is festival weddings, and it's been for a while, a couple of years. But I thought it would take here in the United States. I'm still hoping that could come back. I want it so bad, because I think that concept of the family having more than just a couple hours together as they bond and these two unite is such a fun concept. So I don't know. Have you guys done a festival wedding? Have you seen one? I really want it. I want it to happen.
Yeah, we had a
Go on
DJ.
record.
We had a DJ that did a Renaissance festival wedding. He got married at the Renaissance.
But like beyond that, what I'm talking about with a festival is that it's like a 2 to 3 day. They're in tents all in the
Oh,
same
yeah.
area. They're wearing
Yeah, that is a big
like
deal in
hunter
other
rain
cultures.
boots because it's so muddy,
Yes. Well, we
in the elements.
Yeah, I think the
Reno
Chinese do a
in
3-day
our-
ceremony.
in our TCWP group, a gal.
yeah.
I was just talking with her just the other day, and she's talking about that. She's really wanting to see more of the culture and those traditions versus we're very American weddings here, obviously. But having that more, and I was just encouraging her because she was just like she is definitely that gal that is trying to bring that into our area here in Minnesota, because there's a lot of people that would want to participate and do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
weddings being more of an experiential
Yes.
event. Like, oh, remember so-and-so's wedding? It was 3 days. It was so much fun. Versus maybe, although I will say from a vendor perspective, vendors, as far as us go, we want our weddings to be nice and short.
Yes.
I remember Matt even saying to me one time, being like, "Oh, the South has it great. Weddings end by 10
I was
p.m."
just gonna say that.
Yeah, no, it is.
There might be a reason why we're married.
That is a very good point, because you're talking about like you'd like
Making
to
weddings
see
longer.
festivals,
Yeah.
and we're sitting back here. I'd like to see weddings shorter.
Yes,
And
yes.
and I
the
think-
vendors
it
would want them
is
shorter.
because it is around the country. I know in the South, sometimes you have a venue and they'll do a full like ceremony, reception and dance in like 4 hours in the afternoon. They'll reset and they'll do another one in the evening, and then everyone just once it's over, like everyone just has a predestinated place or an afterglow party or an after party that the big parties would go to. And for some reason in Minnesota, we're like, yeah, let's rent a farm, let's get married at 1 o'clock. That means we're only there at 6 in the morning, and then our guests will be there at 12:30, and they'll love to be there for the next 12 and
And
a
you're
half
doing
hours
hair and makeup at 3
to leave
a.m.
at 1 o'clock. When really, I mean, if you think about it, we got an attention span of maybe 6 hours.
You mean men or
for an
women?
event. No, I mean human beings in general.
Oh boy.
Bossy sister. But I think it would be really great to see some of these, because if a wedding isn't going to be at a church and separated in two different spaces, I think it would be nice to see weddings at 5 or 6, and then go to midnight, or even 4 and then go till 10, because when the event is done, the only thing anybody remembers is the height of that event, when the most amount of people there having the most amount of fun. And I think sometimes we're just like, no, we have to go the extra 3 hours because my 17 friends are going to love that. Well, that's sometimes what that party ends up being, that last 3.5 hours.
So
is
mini
17
weddings
friends.
in concept of not just size, but in time frame too. Could be.
Just in general, shorter.
Well, and can you imagine?
I think it's more fun for people to do the thing, go to the next thing, and be done, and then that's what they've got in their head, rather than
Basically a TikTok wedding. I want to see the next video. I want to see the next video. I want to see the next video. And then I'm here for 5 hours.
Well, can you
I
imagine
touche.
also the twofold that effect would have on like the burnout of your crew? Like if your crew the event was done at 10 every night, right? Versus the event being done at midnight. You guys getting home at 1, 2, depending. I'm talking about DJs.
I know you're using your lens there.
But also, anybody. I mean, if things are ending earlier, just I don't know. Can we just end things at 10?
I will say, as a wedding planner, I'd be more willing to tear down decor for a
Sure,
client if I don't have to go and do that till 1 a.m. in the
So
morning.
it's not just
Yes.
DJs. There's a lot of people working.
I think that's the reason why there's a lot of burnout in the industry. Period, is because the nights are just so
Nights are long.
So can we
Days are long.
boldly say, and maybe Michelle could agree with this, what, Monday weddings? Tuesday
They-
weddings?
Yes,
Hey.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and mini weddings are coming. And winter weddings. I mean, come on, in Minnesota, let's
great
bring them
opportunity.
on.
Amazing opportunity. They are some of the most beautiful
They
weddings I've ever
are
seen.
stunning.
Are winter weddings,
And you know
especially ones December and January.
Yeah, a client made a great claim for me one time about it. They said, now every year we will take an anniversary trip somewhere warm. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, because you don't want to do that in the Minnesota summers. They're so short.
Right.
Let's do an anniversary trip in January.
Yes.
Heck yeah.
oh my gosh, the winter weddings are beautiful. They're stunning. I mean, with the horse carriages and then the capes
Furs.
and the furs and
Yeah.
just everything that they've got going on there. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see that too.
Mhm.
See a little bit more of that. I was talking at dinner with Michael and I told him my favorite weddings that I ever did were New Year's Eve weddings. And he immediately was like, stop it right now.
Charge double.
yeah, charge double.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, for real.
Nobody wants to work.
Nobody wants
at
to
your
work.
wedding.
Nobody wants to work New Year's Eve.
Yeah, and then I put my guest experience lens on, and I'm like, yes, New Year's Eve wedding,
Yeah.
a plan that I know is not going to erupt in me just crying in my hands on some stairwell, being like, I don't have anyone to kiss me and not care. This is previous me.
I was gonna say this is the single list.
yeah, single.
All right.
Unfortunately, now our New Year's Eves are sitting at home.
So what do we got? So just to kind of recap, because producers saying we talk too much, so we got to wrap things up. So we've got buffets sticking around. Dollar
Yeah.
dances are kind of a no.
Yeah.
I would say any type of
Chorizo.
communal food
Garter tots.
that
communal
is
food.
like, I mean, buffets are fine, but like where it's not controlled, that's gone. Communal beverage, I would also say, like those, what my operations manager used to call swamp water, the infused water. I think it might still be around to an extent because they're beautiful, but like you really need to limit down community beverage. Like, let's go back to the bar for what
Mike, we
we
used to drink those all the time in college. It was just in the bathtub.
Yeah, and called
Yeah.
WAP.
Yeah.
I have some alcohol you can
Did
use.
they,
That's been
did you
sitting in our
actually do
cabinet
it
for a
in the
while.
bathtub? Oh god, it's
Yeah.
like when you used to actually put the beer
Oh.
in the beer pong thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
And then
no.
it's like everybody.
We used a Rubbermaid
With
container.
Hashtag 21-year-olds don't care.
Oh gosh, but yeah. So Matt, I mean, but I think what we were talking about, it's some themes that commonly came up was fashion. We want to see some fresh
Yeah.
revival in fashion, or we want to
Yes.
have something be more unique and different. I think that was across the board something that we all wanted and needed
Yes.
after this great reset.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Absolutely.
now we also want different days and holidays and
Right.
times of year for weddings.
Right. Opening up,
Yeah.
not just the Friday, Saturdays. There's definitely other days people are appreciating.
Yeah, and I would say that's beyond just the vendor's need for that. I do think that there is a client want for it, or a guest even want. People don't want their weekends consumed with attending all of their friends' weddings all summer. Like, that blocks out your entire summer if you're in your 20s, 30s, and sometimes your 40s.
I've been
now.
in this business for I don't know how
Way too
long,
long.
over 20 years, and I gotta say I actually still love weddings. So I still think they're awesome. I still think they're a lot of fun. I think they're some of the best events that people get to go to because they're events where everyone is happy and expected to be happy, and you know, life is hard. So
Gosh, you're such a sap.
I am.
Such a sap for love. I can't go to a wedding anymore and like see love anymore. I turn it on and I just like, oh, look at the dishes. Okay, what are they doing? Oh, they're gonna have this tray. They're gonna do this. So to all those vendors listening and that are like me, where you can't actually enjoy weddings
you're
anymore
not enjoying the wedding.
for the love because
Yes.
you're as a guest.
Too
You're
much
the
of a
wedding.
planner.
Yep, you can't turn it off forever.
Yeah.
It's a curse
Try being
and a
DJ.
blessing.
Well, I want to take a second to thank everybody for listening to the podcast. This was the Wedding and Event Insider at Sherry Brothers Studios, powered by Complete Wedding and Events. Thank you all. We will see you next time.